For those who I didn't get to introduce myself to, my name is Skylar. This is my second season up here in Denali, and I'm super excited to be back, largely due to the dogs over here. They're some of my favorite coworkers. Because it's Memorial Day, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the bravery and courage of those who have served in our armed forces and may have lost lives. My thoughts are with the families today that may have lost loved ones on the line of duty. So thank you to anyone who is serving here or has served. So before we get started, yes. Before almost all of our programs, we go over a little bit of wildlife safety. Sometimes it seems like the moose in this area want to see the dogs as much as we do. So if anyone is wandering up behind me, feel free to let me know. I'll watch your backs as well. Does anyone know how far away we say to stay away from wildlife here in the park?
75 feet.
I heard a lot of different answers. So what we say is 25 yards from all animals except for one. Bear. Yeah, exactly. So how far away do we stay from bears?
300 yards.
3 football fields, which is about 300 yards. Maybe, hard to visualize. So pretty much if you can see with your naked eye that it's a bear, probably a little bit too close and want to turn the other way. If this is your first dog demo, I want to give you some idea about logistics. I'm going to talk for a little bit. Then we're going to hook our dogs up over there. They will then run the track behind me and end up right in front of you here. Then I'll talk some more, and they each individually run back to their house. During the runs and while they're running back to the house, make sure you stay behind these bleachers, and if you're over here behind that red line. Everyone looks good right now. And then I will conclude, and you'll have some time then to say bye to the dogs, and I'll make some announcements then if you're planning on going to the bus. They'll start leaving about 40 minutes after the hour. So feel free to relax while you're here. I'll make sure no one gets left behind. Also, if you're curious about any hiking trails, make sure you find me or a Kennels Ranger, and we can help you find your way back to the visitor center. So before we dive into the wonderful world of mushing, I kind of want to take a minute and think about the journey that dogs have come. They play a lot of different roles in their lives, in our lives, since their domestication, and have truly changed the world. So what are some roles that dogs play in our lives when you think about them? Any ideas from anyone?
Companion.
Yes, companionship. That is a great word. Yeah. Yeah, walking dogs keeps us active, right? That companionship. What about any working dogs? Yeah, service dogs, CNI dogs, right? Medical alert dogs.
Herding.
Yeah, herding dogs.
Retrievers,
yeah. What was that?
Oh.
Yeah, healing, sniffing. Dogs have been domesticated to do a bunch of different jobs, including the sled dogs over here. Research shows that dogs started to be domesticated at least 15,000 years ago, if not longer. And since then, they have been known as man's best friend and has helped us do a lot of different jobs. Research has also shown that sled dogs have been used starting about 10,000 years ago. That is a really long time, so let me kind of paint the picture for you. Around 10,000 years ago, the first people were starting to make their way into North America. Now, exactly how, when, and what route people took to come into the Americas is still, being researched by scientists and still kind of debated. But what is not debated is the fact that our human footprints were flanked by dog prints as well. So that just shows how important dogs are to people. If you have your own dog, I'm sure you already know that. But when people came here, they took the necessities. They took their families, they took food. They're coming into an unknown land. But dogs are so important to those people at the time that they took them on their route here. So since then, sled dogs have been used by Alaskan natives in this land for a very long time. Here at the Denali region, the Korakon, Upper Kuskokwin, Denina, Atna, and Tanana lived in and inhabited these regions, and some of these tribes did also utilize working dogs as well as sled dogs. Now, it's going to be kind of hard to imagine exactly what these dogs go through, as well as their Kennels companions go through in the winter, But we're going to go ahead and start getting them hooked up so you can kind of get a picture of what these dogs are doing. Yeah, pay attention to how excited they get because they truly love their job and they get really, really excited.
Right.
And we are going to wait until some people join us, just logistically so it's safe. But while we're doing that, why don't we go ahead and give a howl and let the dogs know that we're ready on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh! All right, one more time. 1, 2, 3. Oh! Yeah, it looks like we got some tail wags. Yeah, you can tell they're very excited to get going, right?
They all want to come get us.
Not necessarily. And we're going to go over some of that stuff first. But we kind of move them around to different sections. And then just a reminder that while they're running, make sure you're all staying where you are.
Come around the bend.
Yeah, it's doing it really nice. Yeah, so as you can imagine, you want to be able to trust the dogs that you have hooked up to your team. And so this bond that the Kennels Rangers develop with these dogs through many, many hours of training is very imperative to what they do here in the park. I was mentioning earlier, it's kind of hard to, imagine what these dogs are doing in the winter because it's nice and warm here. There's not really any snow on the ground anymore. So I just want you to kind of take a moment, either look at the dogs or close your eyes, and I'll try to paint the picture a little bit for you. In the heart of Denali's wilderness, a musher and their loyal team of dogs embark on an extraordinary journey. Battling fierce winds and billowing snow, they navigate treacherous terrain with unwavering determination. As they traverse the tundra, a remarkable bond emerges, each dog knowing its role and pulling together as a cohesive unit. Through shared miles and moments of affection and rigorous training, they forge a connection that transcends words. In these moments of isolation, they find solace in each other's company, pressing on with a shared sense of purpose. The musher marvels at the strength and resilience of their dogs, each paw print in the snow, a testament to their indomitable spirit. When they finally complete their day, there's no need for a grand celebration, just a profound moment of gratitude and affection. The musher kneels down, petting each dog in turn, feeling the warmth of the fur, and receiving some affectionate licks in return. As night falls, the musher settles along the dogs in the quiet of Alaska wilderness, surrounded by the team that has become family. The journey is more about reaching the destination. It's about the bond that they share, powered by love, trust, patience, and some treats. Together, they defy odds, overcoming obstacles that would deter most because of the remarkable connection that they share. So as I was saying, they, go through hours and hours of training, they build trust, they get to know each other. You wouldn't want just any dog out there in Alaska's wilderness, right? It gets really, really cold, it gets really, really snowy. So if you were to have a team of sled dogs, what are some traits that you would look for? Who would you want on your team? Strong, yeah. These dogs are super athletic, they're super in shape, right? What else?
Good bones.
Courage, I heard good bones. Yeah, so we're kind of getting into both the physical and the emotional adaptations right. So with the physical things of these dogs, there's some things that we look for when we are establishing breeding pairs. One, obviously being nice and fluffy. These dogs have a 2-layer coat system. So the inner layer is almost like the down and the down jacket, and then the outer layer whips away moisture and stuff. It keeps snow from like melting into their coat. And so that almost acts like a rain jacket for them. What are some other things that you notice about these dogs?
Obedience.
Yeah, big paws. So all of the dogs have big paws, yet compact. So the compactness keeps them from getting like snowballs in between their toes, but the bigness kind of almost acts as snowshoes on top of the snow. Fluffy tails is one thing that I always notice about these dogs. They don't have the double layer coat on their face, so in the cold winters they'll curl up and then put their tail over their face to kind of warm up their face. Yeah, and so we were kind of getting into the like emotional things. These dogs are, stewards of this land. They're ambassadors of the Denali National Park. So we want to make sure that they work well in the team, work well with visitors, work well with each other, and also have a drive to pull. These dogs, as you saw, as they're getting hooked up, get super excited to do the work that they are bred to do. It's when they're doing it, they're at their happiest. So we want to make sure that the dogs are happy doing what they do, and so we look for those traits. So because of this bond, the trust, and the traits that these dogs have, they're able to do amazing work in the park. Mushing is actively used here, especially because of our wilderness areas. Within these areas, the dogs can access remote areas of the park. They also aid in scientific research. If you notice kind of behind me here, there's like a solar panel and then like a weird thing at the top. That's actually a microphone. So the dogs help bring out this equipment, and it's used to study soundscapes within the park. And so within these remote areas, we put these mics out, and then scientists can get data on like human intervention in wilderness and the sounds. Other things is the dogs can help scientists access remote areas of the park, and they also make winter contacts. It's hard to imagine, but a lot of people actually do come and recreate here in Denali National Park, skiing through, the winter. And there's also Alaskans that live here that also use the trails that these dogs kind of build to mush within the park boundaries as well. And so each of these dogs are unique. They all have their own personality and traits. While we do, breed not necessarily for a specific look, we do breed to make sure that they are doing their job well and fit the team very well. They have been very good. I'm going to go ahead and let them run back to their house, and I'll say a little bit about each one as they run back. So the first one that we got going is Topo. So, Topo was born in 2017 as a part of the Denali Centennial Litter. Topo is very vocal and lets you know when it's dinner time. He's also a great dog to have to help break trail for the kennels rangers in the winter. All right, and then next up we have Darga. Darga was born in 2021. When Darga knows that you're here to pet him, he'll look at you with his big brown eyes affectionately and wag his tail.
Look at him go. His wife's up.
Next up, we have Mike. Mike and Skipper look alike, so I have to double check sometimes. But yes, we have Mike. Mike has great focus from his age. He was born in 2022. And when he's hooked up on the line, he seems to glance back at the musher as if to say that he understands.
Let him go.
All right, and then next up we have Nipa. Nipa's super versatile, and she's good to have in any position. She's really good to put with our younger dogs because she helps keep them in line. And then last but certainly not least, we have Skipper. Skipper is Mike's brother, and she is one of my personal favorites. She's almost cat-like. She'll like to rub up against your legs when she's asking for pets. Yeah, so we were saying each dog has a personality, and we want to make sure that they get along with not only the visitors, but with each other, and so they're very carefully bred, and sometimes we bring dogs from outside of the park. I was mentioning earlier wilderness. I think wilderness means a different thing to all of us, just depending on where we grow up and what we value. But here within Denali National Park and Preserve, we have designated wilderness. Now, this designated wilderness means that we have the least discernible impact on this land. In the winter, instead of using snowmobiles and snow machines in this area, we use our sled dogs, and they are a vital role for getting all of the important work done in the winter done with that least discernible impact. But not only are they that least discernible impact, dogs have been around this area of Alaska for tens of thousands of years. And so they themselves are a part of Denali's wilderness characteristic, being used by Native Alaskans for thousands and thousands of years. I hope that you all have a newfound appreciation of these dogs, and maybe even the dogs back home, because since their domestication, they've gone on incredible journeys and do incredible work for us, giving us love and affection, so much that we can almost never return it. I just have a couple of logistical things I want to go over. I'm ending a little bit early. It's my first dog demo of the season, so but then you'll have plenty of time to go and give the dogs some extra pets and stuff. I mentioned on the bus that we are not allowed to feed any of the dogs in the yard. There's one dog in the yard that you can feed. His name is Buck, which is over there giving some pets. The only thing that Buck eats is green paper and silver coins. Anything that you put into Buck goes directly into the care of the dogs here at the kennels. Also, I'll make an announcement for buses, so feel free to enjoy your time here. I'll make an announcement about 10 and 5 minutes before they leave. And then if you have any questions, feel free to come up to me or any of the kennel staff rangers. I also know some things about trails if you want to know how to hike back if you didn't want to take the bus. Thank you all so much for your time. I know some of you must be here missing your cuddle buddies back at home, so give our dogs some pets and appreciate what roles dogs play in our lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you.